As you know, I was born in a Buddhist country to a Buddhist family, and so I have been exposed to Buddhism from the day that I guess from the time I was born, and then later on, of course, going to learning Dhamma and going to Buddhist Sunday school, and then in Buddhist environment. That's how I got to know the teachings and came to appreciate the teachings. Not a big family, a family of 5 people, my parents and 3 siblings all together. And of course all the uncles, aunts and extended families are all Buddhist. So we've always been exposed to Dhamma events and Dhamma engagements and learning Dhamma and practicing Dhamma together. So that's how.
Again, I was born to a Buddhist family, and my mother used to take me into the temple with the rest of the family. It was mostly on pujas and sermons as young. But to really understand Buddhism, it was much later in life for me. I think it's something in 1984 when I was in my 30s. Mid-30s that it happened to me and developed my skills in Buddhism and understanding it more deeply.
You're taught that you're your own salvation. You cannot do wrong and expect mommy or dad to say, okay son, we'll absolve you from your sin. The question is, we have to suffer with it. So that's one of the most important things that I was taught by my parents. You are your own salvation for us, so don't do anything wrong.
My first exposure to practicing Buddhism was when I was put to a private Buddhist school in Colombo, where it was a girls' college, and we had a nun, a Buddhist nun, which was not very common at the time that I was studying, and she was a resident nun. So I was exposed to her from almost every day, and I did Buddhist civilization under her. I studied the subject, and that's how I became a more practicing, reflective kind of a Buddhist person than doing the rituals that we did at home. And of course, after my marriage, coming to Canada, I was exposed to Bhante Rahula and Acharya Viradhammo and a few other, Bhante Gunaratana, of course, and a few other very good teachers. So I became more of a better Buddhist, a practicing person coming here to Canada, to the West.
Originally, actually, there was Mr. Vidyaratna who was working with the High Commission, and he knew that there were a few families who were Buddhists in Ottawa, and we didn't have a home. We were orphans in a way, and so he managed to convince the High Commissioner, who was a Christian coming from a Buddhist country, to participate or celebrate Vesak, and then after that there was a person called Pia Gamage, who took over from him officially, who was the president and wrote the constitution after his year was over. He invited me to become the president, which I did. And it was that year that we registered the constitution with Revenue Canada. So it was a very small group. There might have been about 20 families, I think. And so we met every month. We met in houses, actually. We rotated, and even trying to bring up our kids. So we tried to teach them Dhamma. What it is. So that's how it started.
I think the common factor was leaving our own motherland and coming here and going through suffering. I think that opened up, that was a common equation for all of us, most of us, I think. And then we were looking for some kind of answers, and I think that was the spiritual basis that we miss here. So I think that was a common goal for us to get together and practice Dhamma together.
We used to use the Vietnamese temple once a month, which is the Poe Day, which is the full moon day, the closest Sunday to the full moon. So we used to go there to practice our thing. And so they told us, Mr. Nguyen, who was the elder of the Vietnamese community, Buddhist community, phoned me at office one day because they have been searching for other Buddhist communities because they had just come, the boat people in 1975. And they found this they're renting this house in Hindenburg in
Ladusa
Street. And he said, the spirit singer, he said, listen, we got a temple. It's not a Vietnamese temple, it's a Buddhist temple. So don't feel shy to come and use it. It is your temple. Please come and use our temple. So we met, and then finally he gave us a key to the temple to come once a month. And he also told me, listen, if you're unhappy with the shrine room, because it has a Vietnamese environment, we'll give you another room upstairs. You can make your own shrine room in a Sri Lankan way and use it. And that's exactly what we did.
One of the objectives of the society to have a place of our own. And that's how it was first started originally. And we worked towards that very, very diligently, and during Asoka's time as a president and the presidents to follow, we did. It was very humble beginnings. I mean, doing car washes for 99 cents, garage sales, and all that kind of stuff. And that's how we started this fund, and we got permission from CRA to accumulate funds. That was in 1991, I think.
Yeah, which is a charity that doesn't usually do that.
Yes. Yeah.
And then that was extended?
Yes, originally 1988 we got permission, and 1991 we got it extended till 2000, year 2000.
As Anoma said, we had to decide to do something with the funds. So we had one committee who had a small committee to decide a questionnaire, and it was circulated among the members, and I think we got a very good return from that survey which showed that though they were interested, they were not really at that time interested in funding a temple with the association difficulties of maintaining it, so on, and we didn't have a big enough community to do that. So that's the time we had to decide something about that. And again, from recollection, subsequently when we had to do something, we decided to queue. At the time, OBS was quite involved with the monasteries of Tisarana, which has been established, and major part of it went there, if I remember. And then we also, Satisarana Heritage has been starting, so we gave a small contribution to them, and then I think the last contribution was given to, the major contribution was given to also Arrow River, where Ajahn Punadhammo comes from, and he has been coming for many years.
I don't recall the exact year. I think 1919. Nisanka, do you remember when he came to take care of his mother?
I think 2000 or 2001.
Yeah.
I had
Yes.
Hua was the president at that time.
Yeah.
So that's the best way to find out the date. I was in the committee as past president, and yes, that's the time he came on a long-term basis. Before that, he has been coming often to see his mother.
2001, there was the first meeting we had at the pagoda that Achan talked to the Buddhist community from Ottawa, Toronto, and I think some came from Peterborough, and he spoke to them, and he told that he has this vision of having the place. Of course, he was invited by Jim Bidard, I think one of the first people to invite Achan Viradhammo to establish a place, supported by many other people who were kind of close to him and who helped themselves with his teachings. So that was the first meeting we had the pagoda, and overall the support was there. First with the weekends, and then we found that there were enough people to take food and support him on a daily basis. So that's how the roster was started, and it went really very well. And we saw to it that he was very well fed.
For 13 years?
For 10 years. I think Bhante Gunaratne, who was the first teacher to the Westerners, to our group of people, he was also more like a forest monk, but not exactly, but he put emphasis on meditation. So that was a common link. And but he was not in residence, right? He comes once a year or so. So when Achan Miradamo came to live here, we had more access to him.
Some of the benefits we do in OBS now is also other events, like our gatherings sometimes are very quiet because of the quietness and so on, that we don't talk too much. As it says, talk less and eat less and sleep less. So because of that, we have started over the years, off and on, social gatherings, and a lot of members have given their house to do that, and that has grown. It comes and goes, and the social gatherings have also become outdoor gatherings, like taking a monk or somebody to the Gatno Park to go for a walk and do some meditation outdoors.
We have been invited to Christian Roman Catholic schools to teach meditation, and so they're all newcomers. So the youngsters, grade 11 and 12, St. Pius and St. Patrick's, and one school brought two busloads of kids actually from Hammond to teach them. And the other one was actually when the public servants were given pink slips, and they were so depressed, they came to us and asked whether we can teach them how to be calm and to accept all this. So we went down to human resources and all that, and taught them how to meditate. So mainly it based on Buddhism, because Lord Buddha his meditation, and we thought talking about Buddhism, we didn't want to scare them in case they think that we are trying to convert them, because there's nothing on conversion, but help them with our aspect of calmness, mindful calmness, and take the clutter off your mind. So that has helped. And a lot of people who have come, who are Roman Catholics, who are Anglicans and all of this, that really helped them.
Also the spiritual friends, which I think is very important. 100% of your practice is with your spiritual friends, which we call Kalyana Mitra, which we get in gatherings like this. They're all like-minded people. We want the same destination, and we practice together. Thank you.